Everybody fears the Saturn line, and rightfully so. It is one of the most karmic lines that will test not just your faith, not just your faith through isolation, okay, but your integrity. It will show you where your soul has unfinished work to do, where you are being asked to climb the mountain to become the GOAT, the one at the top of your own challenges that will give you a tremendous reward. What they don't tell you is Saturn in the Saturn line will give you unmatched, okay, spiritual authority. This is something where when you are in the intergalactic hierarchies, okay, of society and the physical world, you will be one of the most sought out and seeked person. I lived on a Saturn line for literally the first 15 to 20 years or so of my life. So I know this at a very personal level. You will be having integrity on your Saturn line, and you'll be finishing a lot of soul work. But with that being said, for now, you can download the top 5 astrocartography secrets, okay, and get every line in astrocartography. Not only that, but I'll give you the top 5 secrets to learn how to read your own chart without even needing me. But if you want to go a little bit further and dive into the medicine of your Saturn line, I encourage you to book a one-on-one reading with me for your astrocartography, and we'll get busy, baby. I want to say I love you. Thank you for subscribing if you're brand new and hitting that bell icon. Ding, ding. Ciao. Okay, once again, I've lived like 10 years or so on a Saturn line, and man, it is isolated. I won't lie to you. Saturn lines can be tough, but they can be tremendously rewarding, which Saturn gives us rewards. So I guess the key for this is, have you passed 29 years old? More particularly, have you passed 23 years old when your first Saturn return? No, sorry. 33 years old when your Saturn return has already passed, the first one? And are you near your second Saturn return of 58 years old to about 61 years old? So Saturn lines is the energy of Earth. Saturn is also the energy of Vata, which is air. Okay, so it could depend. Earth to air depends on per person, but this is the shamanic energy of the line. Like I said, if you know Ayurveda, it can really open up your perspective. This is the energy of mountain spirits communing with you in stillness, in sacred ceremony. Saturn line and astrocartography is that of the bones that your ancestors have casted into the earth. And then the air part is the messages that those bones from your ancestors are telling you. This is the shamanic energy of a Saturn line. Now, are you on a Saturn IC, DC, AC, MC? This can all shift. It's the Saturn line crossing another line. This can all shift. The initiation that you experience on the Saturn line, which turns into the challenges, equates to tremendous and extreme isolation. Okay. Like I said, I grew up primarily on the Saturn line, for example, and my Saturn line crosses, it has an aspect to my sun line, which is squaring. And literally in those years, my father was absent. And that's the father being the sun, and Saturn equated in isolation and absence and the desolation even. Not gaining wisdom or support in any emotional manner, especially towards my career of choice of my soul's work, which is things like shamanism and astrology and etc. So not all work, my soul's work, and it's the key to understand what a Saturn line, or that's actually more complex because that's more about my sun, but it's how mine hit me, for example, right? So other than that, the challenges are you experience a lot of restriction. Depending on where it is, I think my Saturn was DC, which is about friendships and love and relationship. A lot of restriction I felt within it, a lot of literal suffocation in love situations where I did experience a lot of loneliness when it comes to relationships. Where even when I had relationships, I was never really truly in the relationship, and it took me a lot to understand that. So there's a lot of karmic isolation you experience with this, and this is stuff that I need to experience in order to, during those years of development, truly walk into myself. And this is the way of the shamanic alchemy, how you transform this challenge, this initiation, this rite of earth passage into mastery, soul mastery. Saturn lines are about soul level mastery and ancient wisdom that you accumulate through trials and errors, through real trial where you test yourself as for what works, what does not work. And when you prove what works, this is what turns into the soul's wisdom. This is what turns you into a keeper on the path to tremendous secrets. And there's something I want to tell you right now, but I can't because it's a freaking secret. So I can't tell you that. But yeah. See, it's already Saturn restriction. You're restricted. Can't tell you. Okay, so other than that, it's a place of sacred authority. It's one of the best outcomes on the Saturn line. You become an authority figure, and you become a sacred authority figure when you do it with integrity. When you do it responsibly. Okay, there's an irresponsible way to do this where you become a false authority. You become a role model who is not leading in truth or integrity, and that I would even say is another stage of my life that I unconsciously had to go through and get isolated and desolated to the point where I realized, no, I'm going to choose sacred authority. But it took a lot of challenges for me to get on that path. And so, you think your Saturn line is hard? No, it is not hard. It is your rite of passage. And with that, my PDF will help you understand a little bit more of why. So check it out. It's a free top 5 secrets on astrocartography that you'll get. It's free to download on my website. And other than that, you can get a one-on-one reading with me if you want. If you're going through and you think your Saturn line is hard, I promise you, I grew up 10 plus years on a Saturn line, and I can explain a lot from you for a personal level. So thumbs up if you're brand new, subscribe, and share this with somebody who you know will resonate and vibe. Love. So understand this, your Saturn line is not a punishment. Okay, it is a path to the evolution of your soul and all the unfinished work. It is a path to spiritual mastery, to tremendous wealth, massive abundance with the people who you owe through social and interpersonal contracts from other lifetimes, some debts, whether that is positive or negative. Saturn doesn't actually care. It wants to bless you all together. Just understand it's not a punishment to live on your Saturn line. I'm living proof of it, and I would never take it back. It made me one of the most integral people in my own right within this spiritual space, and recently I heard spiritual industry, and I'm like, ugh, that sounds disgusting. If you live on a Saturn line, you know exactly what I mean. That being said, hit the thumbs up and likes button. Download the top 5 astrocartography secrets where you get all lines for astrocartography, and or book a one-on-one reading with your boy to dive deep if you want to navigate the complexities of your Saturn line and all the karma that you're here to finish. Love.